What is going on, everybody? Get the music back on. I kind of have to do everything manually. My stream deck was not working at all. We'll get the music back up and going. How's everybody doing this afternoon, this evening? Back up. Oh man, the music's even a little low on my end. Go. He's all in the chat. What is going on? 343 Burning Legion, Mr. Baker, DC, Salty Lizard. What is going on, everybody? And yeah, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the interview. So for those that are not members here on YouTube or patrons, supporters, I started up a podcast, which will be a monthly content until I kind of figure out what I'm going to do for Homebrew. But I'm going to do a monthly podcast once a month that you could get access for it, and every other episode for just $1. $1 that supports the channel. It goes straight to that, and you get complete access. The first episode just went up where I spoke with community member and DM's Guild designer and just general TTRPG designer Daryl Dominguez, also known as Drunken Yoda, for those that are in the Discord and in various other Discord communities for D&D. So yeah, so there will be, just you support the channel for $1 a month, you'll get access to that. There's other tiers too, but I will just continue to say, yeah, just $1 will get you access to it because it's the cheapest option, and I'm all for people pretty much getting the best value what they can for the cheapest amount, cheapest price, until I could get better, pretty much better, I guess, incentives at the higher end. And thank you for becoming a member. Thank you. I see you, Alomancer, Raquel. See you, Luke. What's going on, Phil? This for May, I'm just gonna reach out to some people to see which who I will be interviewing next. I know Phil has some projects going on. I also know Buddy Terran Indestructible also has some projects going on too. I'm gonna sit down with either both of them or reach out to you guys. I am doing good today. I slept in. Today is a day off from work, so I slept in as much as possible. I thought I was gonna get some stuff done today, but I decided I just needed to sleep. Mr. Breaker saying, if this is a new direction for your channel, I'm all for it. I'm not gonna go hard 100% all in on Pathfinder yet, or maybe not at all. Part of it too, I'm barely learning the system, so it's one of those things that I don't want to speak on the system as an authority on it if I myself don't know it well enough. It's very different from like 5e, where I played 5e for years now, that I am very confident in being able to express my opinion on it. I do have an opinion on my early feelings regarding Pathfinder, because I did play the starter, the beginner box, when all the OGL stuff was happening, as well as looking at other 5e non-wizards supplements and products. I also was looking at other games, other TTRPGs in the space to also support the industry as a whole, because that was also another important thing. If there's more games out there that are being successful and have a community that you can actually find games for, it's better in the long run for the community and not just everybody huddling around one massive game. It'd be very similar to in the video game industry, and specifically fighting games. If there was only Street Fighter, everybody was huddling around. That's not good for the industry. That's really bad. So that's one of those things. Give me a sec. My little boy's not jumping. Give me a ooh check. Okay, well, either way, we're floating today. So yeah, so that's what my head's at right now, because I do want to also look at third-party stuff and in general just see what's going out there for it. Actually, I think I know what's going on with my little guy. Give me a sec. I want him to move, but I think, yeah, that's what's happening. Here we go. There we go. So now, whenever I talk, he'll move. Oh, well, that's awesome, Luke. Well, thank you for stopping by. Thank you. Have fun with your new board game. I remember there was a time where I was heavily purchasing board games. So what we're gonna do today in this stream, so we can get kind of jumping in on it. Yes, I actually did brainstorm. So we're gonna be making a character for my group's new game. We're gonna be jumping into Pathfinder 2nd Edition. We're taking a break from 5e, but our game's gonna take place in Eberron. So we're gonna play an Eberron game. So we're still using a D&D world, but we're just gonna play it in a whole new system. So I have my general concept. I kind of know what sort of class I was going for, but my concept for Eberron, for those that are not familiar, Eberron is a post-war sort of pulp adventure noir setting. It's kind of it is very different from your standard fantasy, but it still has some of those same elements of like fantasy tropes, but also mixing in modern interpretations of fantasy and like also those adventure pulpy and noir, like 1920s-esque kind of vibes and themes. So you're gonna have Indiana Jones-esque adventures, but also mixing in stuff if you're gonna be like in the cities, you're a detective. So yeah, Eberron is an amazing setting. In all honesty, all the issues that you normally see with standard fantasy, especially stuff surrounding obviously, for those that didn't see it, or I jumped in on Indestructible stream earlier this week, and there's a big discussion regarding the removal of half elf and half orc options out of the game, but not necessarily half race options completely. With 1D&D, they're introducing this admittedly sort of half-baked, half mixed race option that you can kind of take elements of one race and then use the description and characteristic of another, and then if you include the background changes and the ability to change language and stuff, you're pretty much gonna have a multiracial, multicultural character. So, but there was a lot of hubbub around that. But regarding a lot of the issues people have when it comes to representation in the game, Eberron kind of fixes all that. Eberron is like been a step ahead of like all the issues that typical fantasy, standard fantasy has and critiques have had with D&D. Eberron was just like, yeah, we're just not going to deal with any of that, and we're going to just move into the future. So how they deal with representation of like the fantasy races and draw those inspiration from real world, there's still conflict. And the thing is, like, they don't shy away from that conflict, but they represent, and where they draw those inspiration from is really respectful. So in terms of like you have the Draconic Goblins, which were the original indigenous peoples of the main continent of Corvair. Pretty much after a big war against Aberration, the Dalkir, their empire was kind of pretty much crumbled. And then when humans came into the land, they pushed them out. So then you have this, now that it's pretty much been like thousands of years, now they're resurfacing, the Draconic Goblins, and their culture is resurfacing. Now you have this interesting conflict of none of the factions are good or evil. It's just now they are the original indigenous people. Where do they find their place in the world, and how does that conflict with pretty much the other 5 nations? So, and then yeah, there's a nation of Droam and Dargun. Like, Eberron's just really, really cool. Like it does. I think a lot of people's fears of thinking that they're removing like options and trying to stay away from certain hot topic issues, and Eberron is like, it doesn't shy away from those hot topic issues, but also it moves away from glorifying some of the more problematic issues that are within the fantasy, and it presents them in it respectfully represents, and excuse me, I'm kind of burping and choking at the same time. It perfectly uses the inspiration from our real world and allows for that conflict without being problematic. And that's the big thing. Especially you get that discussion with orcs and Drow, and they're like, oh, they're just not making him evil. It's not necessarily that. It's stuff like Eberron says, it's not about removing the ability and only option of evil. They changed the lore so that the only option isn't evil. That just because by birth they are inherently evil, and instead they're saying, yes, there are evil ones, there's good ones. It depends on the culture, and that's where the conflict is. And how do you deal with that? So yeah. So that's why I'm all. There's a lot of ways to go about it, and that you want that natural where that conflict comes from, and not just keep everything very stagnant and stale in one note. So yeah. Yeah, exactly. Eberron completely deconstructs those issues and builds a world where it's irrelevant. Yeah, I love Eberron. Honestly, it's like if they just said, yeah, Eberron's the main setting for D&D going forward, I'd be like, yeah. And then you just put Keith Baker on the payroll. Like, okay, Alamancer Shot. I'm sad that I won't be able to watch the whole stream. How long will this run for, and will it be on YouTube later? Yes, I'm going to be leaving the VOD up on YouTube. So if you can't stick around, don't worry, it will be on there. So for my character, I went through several concepts already. Originally, I was going to play a Magus. And then I did make one for the beginner box one shot. Everybody kind of just made characters. And I was like, you know what? I might as well try the class out and just see how it is. Pretty much, we didn't really play any characters. We were just kind of just running through it. And we're just like, yep, I'm this mechanic character. And Magus was fun, but it's very swingy. So it did detract me because when I hit like a truck, and that's like one of those things, like you just infuse magic into your weapon and you just go to town. But if you miss, your turn is wasted. So it was too swingy for me, and then needing to have options to be able to shape combat and also support my allies was big for me. So going into the Eberron game, I was like, okay, I need to play a different kind of character. So my first concept when I originally was going to play Magus was going to be a Decani Hobgoblin who was exiled from the Ketch Valar, which is one of the underground communities of these goblinoids. And specifically the Ketch Valar are about recovering ancient relics, Decani relics, and pretty much getting them back from the surface world. So I was going to play that, and then the Ketch Valar are also kind of like these artificer-esque kind of culture community. So the Magus was perfect, where you're part warrior culture, but also you infuse and use arcane magic to empower your weapon. It was going to go perfectly. Then my cousin, who's going to be the dungeon master for Eberron, this is his first time dungeon mastering completely. We kind of did a little dirty because we're just like, hey, yeah, we're going to do this Eberron game in 5e, and then OGL happened, and my whole play group's just like, can we play Pathfinder and try it out? And we're just like, we'll just play Pathfinder for Eberron. And so after feeling comfortable enough with 5e, we switched over to Pathfinder. So he's for pretty much his first time DMing is going to be DMing for us for a whole new system, which actually I think kind of works out since we all don't know what we're doing. We can't do the actually the rules say this to him. So that which I enjoy. But he told me, after giving us like 3 options to kind of choose from in terms of like what main plot we're kind of eyeballing, it was either the return of the Zendric giants, and we would have to deal with giant issues and volatile magic. What's going on, Josiah? What's going on, Fallen Phoenix? Good to see you guys here. Then the other one was dealing with the Draconic Prophecy and trying to prevent the cults of the Dragon Below and various other entities from unlocking the seals and trying to unravel the prophecy and make Armageddon happen. And then the other one was dealing with the Dalkir and having just pretty much aberrations kind of just do a psychic secret invasion. So what's going on, CBev? My play group was like, hey, let's deal with the Draconic Prophecy. That sounds pretty cool and interesting. So since we all voted on that, my Decani Hobgoblin didn't fit. So now my concept for the character is a Syrian refugee after the day of mourning. He was an ex-member of the Fifth Crown, which was a Syria's intelligence agency. On the day of mourning, he has pretty much his family, his friends were all living in Syria while he was away on a mission. And then on the day that it happened, they all disappeared. So post-war, he no longer has a country. He no longer has, outside of his only war buddies, he doesn't really know anybody else. So now he's pretty much a mercenary for hire and takes jobs so that he can personally investigate what happened, or also locate family and friends that were lost on that day, if they exist. Because part of the mystery is that there's no bodies, there's nothing. They just disappeared. So for him, there's a little bit of hope that they survived. So the way the lore for Syria and pretty much members of that community or that country. I am on Pathbuilder, pathbuilder2e.com. So I can actually link it to you guys. Let me put it in the chat right now. This is a really awesome site. You can pretty much build and use this as like a digital tool to build your character. It's awesome. Yeah, he's from Syria. It was the country during the war that pretty much got turned to mist. A mysterious mist flooded into the country of Syria, and nobody knows what happened, who caused it, or anything, but it immediately caused the war to end. The artist actually was recommended to me by my friends over at Fry Minis. Let me see if I could get it. Oh man, let me see if I can pull it up in another window, and I can get you guys the artist too. She does amazing work. Wrong email. Okay, let me. Her name is Angelica Savillo. Let me see if I can get her info, because yeah, most definitely I would like you guys to go support any of the artists I've done work for the channel. She was really easy to work with, and the little goblin that was taken from a sketch I did of a goblin in a backpack. Oh, okay. I'm gonna have to look. I will probably post the artist. I gotta find it because it was recommended to be by Prime Minis. I will see if they can get me the link for it, because she also did work for them for their banner hub. So same artist. If I can't find it, I'm pretty sure Fry Minis has it on theirs when they introduced their banner hub. It's like, yeah, okay, yeah. My cousin's in the chat. He's a mod, Nomad. It's like D&D Beyond, but free for Pathfinder. Yep. So yeah. I'm very tired, and the explanation I had for the mist was Warforged Lich, just because it makes no sense. Yeah, and that's the beauty of Eberron. They say events happen, but they give the game master, dungeon master, enough room to explain why for their own, to have it fit in your version of Eberron. So it's very different from other settings where, like, you get Forgotten Realms, they pretty much over-explain. It's not they over-explain, they just explain, and events happen because of X reason, and it's canon, and it's the lore. While in Eberron, every game of Eberron happens at the exact same time. It's about 2 years after the war. It's a post-war setting, and that's it. There's no lore after that. So whatever happens after that is pretty much your game. And it's intentionally built that way so that game masters and playgroups have their complete and utter freedom to do whatever they want for that setting, and it's encouraged. You can follow Keith Baker. He does have his own canon, canon with a K, up on his blog, and I recommend that too because there's a lot of insights. But he also reinforces the idea of that you do what you want with it. Here's my ideas, and this is what I would do. But here's a bunch of other threads that you can follow, that you can play with to make the setting your own. Which is, I love that. Like he's a very, very creative, and when it comes to the lore and what he wants to do with the setting, but he doesn't forget it's still a game. So he does try to give seeds so that playgroups can do what they want and make it completely 100% their own. It's awesome. Like, I wish other settings and other games would take that mindset and approach. So for my character, the way I see it, especially since I know the playgroup, what they're going to be playing, we're going to have a inventor. We're going to have a gunslinger. Yeah, we're going to have a goblin inventor, a warforged gunslinger, a shifter or gnome cleric. I don't know what my buddy is leaning on. I think he's going to play a silver flame, so he might be a shifter. Let's see. We're going to have a rogue, a dwarven rogue. And then we're going to have two other party members, my brother and another friend of ours, that are going to be floating in and out. I only know my friend is going to be playing the alchemist, but he's not going to be consistent. So I normally I don't really have to worry too much with them. But in terms of party makeup, we do need like a frontliner, but I don't want to play a frontliner of all things. I want somebody that has a lot of utility. The way members of Siri, or pretty much citizens of Siri, especially in the military, in the setting, the lore, they are very multifaceted. They are not the best at one thing, but they're good at everything. This is a home game. This will be for my home game. So they're somewhat trained in magic, or able to use magic items to some extent. They are sort of trained in war, so they have the ability to use weapons and defend themselves. So my idea was to go thaumaturge after kind of just looking over what the thaumaturge offers. It is apparently one of the harder classes to play, which of course I would want to start a fresh new game and learn a new system in hard mode. Who would have thought? But it offers a lot of options, a lot of places you can kind of like tweak it and then mix and match your abilities. The site I use, and I'll post this one. This is a free resource that has every mechanic for Pathfinder 2E posted that's ever been printed. It is 100% free. Paizo encourages it. They want you to use these resources. They want you to play this game. They do not pretty much paywall you to play their game. You do not have to buy a single book to play Pathfinder 2E. The only thing really you're paying for to play Pathfinder 2nd edition when you pick up a book is lore. That's it. So yeah, like go to it's Archives of Nethys. I pulled it up on the screen right here. Every character option, every ancestry is here. So you have all your core ones from the core book, uncommon ancestries, and so on. You just have every option. So boom. What I want to do, whenever I get a chance, I want to play a Leshy, which are these little plant people. But I want to play it like a luchador and be what's that character from Marvel vs. Capcom 2? Amigos? That's what it is. Amingo? Amingo or Amigos? Yeah, Amingo. Okay, yeah, let me pull him up. Yeah, I want to play a Mingo. I think when I get a chance, I'll be able to do it, but it's not gonna be for Ebron. It doesn't fit. This would be sick though. Play a Mingo. That's some sort of like power slamming wrestler. But yeah, I recommend Archives of Neth. It's a really good resource. It has every class ever printed, has every ancestry ever printed, and will continue to add on to it. Archetypes, backgrounds, etc. So the biggest thing and the biggest difference for Pathfinder when it comes to building your character, you're doing a lot of your stuff up front. You're making a lot of your base choices up front. This is a little different from 5e, from what I noticed. Let me see. New character. And what I mean is different. Some classes have subclasses at the beginning, but unlike 5th edition, where when you get your subclass at first level, while in 5e that subclass really informs your playstyle. No matter the class in Pathfinder 2e, even if you have a subclass at first level, your core class will dictate your playstyle. What the subclass option or subclass choice will do is allow you to opens up options for you, so you could play a bit thematic, but based off of how their feat system is. If we're both playing a Dragon Barbarian, it doesn't necessarily mean we're playing the same Dragon Barbarian. So there's enough option. There's a lot of choices for you to pick and choose to make your character unique and fit with you. But a lot of this character concept is heavily front loaded, so you need to have a strong basis for what your character is, so that it makes it a lot easier to build from the beginning. While in 5e, depending on the class, you kind of have some leeway to kind of figure it out as you go, and especially with the updates coming in from the 2020, they're not even calling it 1D&D anymore, they're calling it the 2024 update, because they're moving all subclasses to 3rd level. So it's like, let's get them switch all that over there. So you do have this big difference. And yeah, it is, I will say, looking at a character sheet for Pathfinder 2e, it is a little bit daunting, because there's just a lot of stuff you need to choose up front. But if you pick up the beginner box, and I recommend, if you have never played Pathfinder, your group has never played Pathfinder, definitely pick up the beginner box. It walks you through everything. Whether you're a game master or a player, it walks you through every step. And it's built in such a way that it reminds you it's a game, but it reminds you that it's a game, but it also teaches you how to play the game as you play it at every step. And it's awesome. That's something I don't think the starter box or the essentials box for 5e does. So we're gonna get started on this character. I don't really have a name for it yet. I'm thinking for the ancestry, we want to go a little basic. I'm definitely leaning human. Though the nation of Siri is predominantly human, half elf, halfling, and shifter, but other races do occupy you. You can be a goblin from Siri, you can be a dwarf, but I'm definitely leaning towards human. I like human in Pathfinder. They have a lot of cool options, and the cool thing with this, we go just basic human. We'll go to heritage for a sec. This is kind of like your sub race option in 5e, but this is where you're gonna find your half elf and half orc. So they automatically assume that the other half is half elf, half orc. This is probably based on lore, but there's also skilled, versatile, and winter touch, depending. I think this is from a different kind of adventure path book that they have. So yeah, there's this. We'll get to this in a second. But then you get to pick your background. So what we're gonna look for is either a character. There's a lot of things we can play with for the character I have in mind. Definitely want to go human, but right now they're a former soldier. They're a current mercenary, so we can go that route. We can also go with the route of somebody that is very much haunted by their past, so we can go that route too. Go like a tragic. Let's go with all. There's a lot of options that they have, and what these backgrounds do, they're very similar to backgrounds in 5e. They'll provide you some sort of skill proficiency and a boost bonus to one of your ability scores. But everything is like hyper flavorful. It's awesome. Really, really like it. So what I'm looking for is something that evokes either a ex-military, current mercenary, or somebody that's afflicted with a tragic past. So we get Avenger. We can be Captain America or Avengers. Okay, back alley doctor, barber, barkeep, barker, bellflower agent. You joined a secret society to freeing halfling slaves. You know to smuggle people in and out of countries. Okay, that's cool, but you don't get anything for that. We like books. I'm a bibliophile. Choose 2 abilities boosts, one with intelligence, charisma, etc. So we're gonna, let's see, we just kind of go. We got bounty hunter, bringing in lawbreakers, line your pockets. Okay, so strength and wisdom, and then you get another free boost, survival, legal, lore skill. So, and if you guys have questions regarding Pathfinder, I'll do the best. You go ahead and drop them in there, or just questions in general about anything, even the stuff that's going on with D&D or in the TTRPG space. Go ahead and drop them. I'll answer to the best of my ability. There was a lot of stuff going on while I was away, so it's good to be back. I do plan on a video to come out within a week or two. I'm still trying to wrap up the script. We're gonna take a little detour. I want to try some different kind of content out. I know people are used to me doing like character builds and based around concepts, but I do want to kind of expand and explore other TTRPG related topics. The next video I'm going to be talking about alignment and but why I think it sucks, and why Star Wars does an alignment system better than most fantasy TTRPGs. So I want to start exploring videos and content that we take concepts from our favorite properties, other nerd and geek stuff that we probably watch or interact with, and how we can incorporate mostly narrative, but maybe sometimes mechanical ideas into our games. So it'll be very multi-system influence. It's not going to stick to one system. You can just kind of take these ideas into Pathfinder or to D&D or your non-D&D 5e games. Or if you're going to play stuff like Lancer or any other game. It's interesting to see how quickly the TTRPG sphere turned against the concept of alignment after the OGL fiasco. The issue, alignment has been an issue for some time. It was a conversation that came up actually around the time I started getting into YouTube and doing content creation. Because there is kind of some problematic things that it reinforces. Excuse me. There is aspects of bioessentialism that it does reinforce, that it becomes problematic, and that's just like the social like interaction we have with the game. But then there's the mechanical issues within it too, where there's some narrative limitations that it puts on the player and the DM. So, like, if a DM, while there has been a large encouragement with since 5th edition to be like, you're the DM, you get to do whatever you want. You could change it if you want, cool. But you still get people coming out there, but orcs are evil, so because of alignment, because Grumsh said so, they were born that way, and you have to follow the alignment. Or paladins can only be lawful good because that's the alignment. And then if you act out of that, you're gonna lose your oath, you're gonna lose your powers. Like, and then, well, that limits how a player can actually function and play into a game, but also limits the narrative control or the narrative freedom a DM can have within the game as well. So that's just game related issues, and not even the social aspect of how alignment can reinforce bioessentialism and just in general negative preconceptions we have regarding peoples. And while a lot of people are going to argue, okay, it's a fantasy game, it shouldn't matter. Well, media and how we interact and view media definitely influences or reinforces or inspires or changes our opinion about the things we interact with. We use media and art to cope and understand concepts that we are familiar or unfamiliar with. So it's, as much as we use it as an escapism to get away from these issues, we also use it to understand and reflect and evolve through these issues. Nothing's ever in isolation. Like, it's just the world we live in. We're always all connected, and even more so since everything is online now, we're 100% connected. I think sometimes we're a little too connected. Those two months away from not looking at content, not really interacting with too much. I was in my Discord here and there, but those 2 months away from like everything, where I was pretty much just touching grass, living life. It was nice not having to show up on Twitter, not having to be like in the public space so often. And I think people should do that a lot more. Okay, I know we have a haunted one. I've seen that earlier. Ex-Crusader. Ooh, what does that give me? Ability, Constitutional Wisdom. I know that there's like a alternate rule that you can kind of do what they did with 5e for backgrounds and race options, where you can kind of plug and play whatever ability scores you want. But also, for those that are still kind of like playing core to the book, there is some min-maxing you could do with picking backgrounds and ancestry options to get the best version to support your class. In regards specifically to like experience playing combat with the Magus and just how it differs from 5e, I will say a Pathfinder is very much a team-oriented game where you want to fill your role and to open up advantages for your team. So I noticed when we try to just bulldoze it like we normally do in 5e, we struggled against like little kobolds. But soon as, we started giving each other ways to boost up our abilities to hit more, causing pretty much kobolds to get like negatives and minuses to their saves and their defenses, we were trucking a lot easier and it went a lot smoother. And while 5e, you can pretty much just brute force your way into doing things, or everybody just plays a spellcaster and just like hold person, fireball, and that's GG's. Or you just bring in a super min-maxed optimized build that can just dominate as a single player into the game. It is very different. I'm pretty sure with Pathfinder you can optimize to an extent, but I don't, just based off my experience, I don't think the system allows for like a super min-max character to completely overrun the game within reason. Like, I think a min-max character probably is just going to be really good at the role, and that's pretty much it. Haunted citizen. Ooh, you grew up in a region where undead lurked everywhere. Okay, that doesn't really fit. But this could be a domain as small as a vampire spy or as vast as the nation of Ustala. And an ever-present concern, the undead greatly shaped your life. Living with fear became an everyday skill. Wisdom or charisma. You trained in diplomacy skill. Okay. No, but it's haunted. Haunted by the spirits. Okay. Either from childhood or since a traumatic or momentous event, you may have seen this entity. Oh, this is cool. This kind of fits. It doesn't have to be literal spirits that I'm haunted by. We're gonna play. My DM is still my cousin's still in the chat. You know, doesn't have to be literal spirits. But if that's something you want to play with, I'm kind of liking this one. Choose the ability score. Oh, excuse me, choking. You're trained in occultism and an additional skill in which the haunting entity is well versed. Determined by the GM. Anytime you attempt a skill check for the entity skill, the GM can offer you +1 circumstance bonus to a check, as though the entity were aiding you. If you accept but fail the check, you're frightened. This kind of fits a little bit of what my character is kind of dealing with. It's just what throws me off is not the negative. I don't really care about being frightened and stuff. It's just it does play into the idea that there is a ghost with you, so I might not go with that. Haunting vision. Cool. It doesn't give any lore. Okay. Sick. Okay. Lost loved one. Okay. Lost and alone. Local scion. Are we gonna have to go with warrior? Martial discipline, mechanic, megafauna hunter. You just okay. Okay, let's see. We got here we go. Mercenary. You were sought citizenship or simply needed a steady paycheck. You went to some of your time as a paid mercenary. Strength and Constitution 1, a free ability boost. You train athletics skill and the mercenary lore skill. You gain the experience professional skill. I was also looking for spy too, but I don't think do they have spy on here? I was a spy. They got a rebel recruiter, former refugee. Oh, they got refugee. They have different refugees. They have 3 different refugees. Why? Why do they? Saboteur. Okay. Scavenger, schemer, slayer, spy. Come on, we got. Nope. There is no spies in this. Interesting. Okay, we need to pick I'm gonna stick too long on this stupid thing, so we need to pick one. What does warrior do? I'm ex-military. I think. Okay, we're gonna go with that. We'll go basic. Okay. I'm definitely loving the thaumaturge, so this is like an easy win. So the thaumaturge's whole concept is that you're using these sort of like implements, these little knickknacks and other like occult items to open up weaknesses in monsters and other things that you fight and exploiting that weakness. So that's like the kind of the whole shtick. They're kind of like this Monster Hunter-esque kind of. I'm gonna look into like these weird sort of like conspiracies, and I like cryptid hunter kind of stuff. Like these are the guys you kind of call in to hunt ghosts and hunt monsters and stuff, or to look into supernatural mysteries. So it kind of fits with this sort of magical detective spy character kind of like looking into, because they do have like these like these magic item-esque implements that they use which kind of fits with the idea of that, since my character's from Siri, that the military and stuff are trained to use like magic items and are multifaceted, so that they're more geared towards combat. And since my character was a spy, he was trained to exploit weaknesses and look pretty much hurt his opponents in the most effective way. So that's why I'm really liking this idea. One of the other characters' idea was to go a monk and play a Blood of Vol character, but that was going around and just hunting Emerald Claw members, but it didn't work out. It just didn't fit with the theme of the what's it called, the campaign. So yeah. All right, so now we're gonna set okay, before we set abilities and skill training, let's go through heritage, ancestry feats, and class feats. So now we kind of know what class and stuff we're kind of rolling with. Heritage is pretty much like a sub-race option. I don't see myself playing a half-elf, but in Eberron, half-elves are completely their own race. They're called the Corvari or the Corvair, something along those lines. They are completely kind of their own thing. They have their own cultural identity in the setting, but at the same time, a lot of them are either tied to the Dragonmark houses or they're tied to the country that they belong to. So they're very multicultural and in a way that they could be from the country of Karnath, which is very much a military centered and authoritarian centered country, but also they have ties to other Kovari. I'm probably saying it wrong. Throughout Corvair, the entire continent. So they find a lot of commonality with other half-elf people, but also can be very nationalistic and very tied to the nation that they were born and raised in. So that's why half-elves are pretty cool in that setting. Or orcs and half-orcs are pretty awesome in the setting too. They are responsible for a lot of the druidic magic in the setting, and they help seal the demons and the Dalkir into into Kyber, which is pretty much like an Underdark-esque like realm. It's pretty sick. They're very heroic in the setting. You can still play like the typical like warrior orc. Those are going to be orcs in Dargun. Apparently those were after fighting and sealing away demons, they were the ones that are sort of corrupted or moved away from the druidic aspect because of the influence of demons and the Dalkir. So you can still play like a traditional orc, fantasy orc, but the option to play a lot more noble and heroic orc is also there too. Pretty much these options, what they do is open up. They give you some racial traits that are like natural to like a full elf or a full orc. Yeah, gatekeepers are sick. I'm actually surprised nobody in my game is actually playing a gatekeeper, but I think I think there's only a few of us that are like super into like the lore of Eberron. So that's why we don't really see a gatekeeper in our party. But gatekeepers are awesome. But yeah, as I was saying, half elf and half orc, what they do is they give you some of like the biological traits of the other race, or the other ancestry option, but also open you up to feats that are normally associated with that other ancestry option. Because as you level and progress in Pathfinder, you also get more abilities for just being the ancestry that you come from. So there are specific elf and half elf, as long as human related feats that you'll have access to. And the same thing for orc. There's half orc feats that you'll have access to. Since I'm not playing any of those, there's also skilled. If you want more skills and be able to kind of like interact more with certain aspects of the game and pretty much skill challenges, you can do that with skilled heritage. Versatile heritage is probably what I'm eyeing. I really like this one because you get more feats. I get more base features to kind of boost up your character, which I'm liking. Winter Touch, I think it's from a specific lore setting book that just makes it so that you can withstand extreme cold. I'm gonna go with versatile. I like the feat option. That's also why Variant Human was so popular in 5e, is because you get that extra feat. And that's why with the 2024 update, with backgrounds and everything, everybody's gonna be getting a feat from the beginning. So yeah, there's that. General feat, we'll go back to that in a second. And then ancestry. We also, this is just for being a human. So pretty much your quote unquote subrace, your heritage, gives you a feat option, and then your ancestry gives you another feat option. And then so there's stuff which are very uncommon, which are like magical tattoos that'll let you cast spells. This is actually really good. Arcane tattoos are actually really good to kind of mimic the idea of dragon marks if you're playing in Eberron. But I believe there is a Eberron conversion already out there for Pathfinder 2e that allows you to play and build dragon mark characters. But for those that I want to say it's on like the Pathfinder 2e Reddit that you can actually find it. No, not Pathfinder 2e Reddit, the Eberron Reddit. You can find it there. There's stuff like astrology. You're kind of using the stars to kind of predict the situation. Cooperative nature. The short human lifespan lends perspective and has taught you from a young age to set aside differences and work with others to achieve greatness. You gain a +4 circumstance bonus to checks to aid. So you're using the aid option, which is pretty much the help action. While the help action can only, I think it's very similar where you have to have the skill to do it. But the while the help action only gives you advantage to helping an ally. Obviously there's number modifiers in Pathfinder 2e. There's no advantage or disadvantage. I do kind of miss it when I was playing because I'm like, man, it's just easy to be like, yeah, just roll an extra dice. But the math of the game is built around this, and it's one of those things that will become easier as you play it. But a +4 circumstance bonus is pretty sick. That's a big bump. A lot of the bumps I've seen that you get from circumstance bonus is like +1, +2, maybe not too much. So a good +4 to help somebody complete an objective is pretty good. Courteous comeback. Your settlement in a community or setting or settlement, or excuse me, you're in a settlement or community and you haven't used courteous comeback in this settlement or community within the past month. That's a requirement. Your okay, so it is not a reaction. Okay, so you could just re-roll diplomacy checks if you fail. Okay, Devil's Advocate, Dragon Spit, General Training. Misbeat the okay. You adapted by the fest. Well, you get a plus. You get a first level general feat. That's actually good. You get more feats. You want some natural ambition. You are raised in ambitious ways, allowing for reach, which starts leading to progress quickly in your chosen field. You gain a first level classy for your class. Oh, that's sick. Okay, that's a no-brainer. I want more stuff from my class. I will take that. Okay, so let's go back to general feats. So general feats are kind of just like other pretty much feat options that anybody can pick up for any class you're playing. I'm probably going to be a melee character, so I probably need something that will help me stay alive, because I think everybody else in my party is going ranged. Oh, diplomacy is what got us a dragon, but mainly intimidation. Okay, that's my buddy David. So in our beginner box, at the end, spoiler. So if you guys haven't played the beginner box, there's a spoiler. You fight a you fight a wormling. But the option we have, you can try to capture it and get it out of there, or you can kill it. Fully prepared to fight this thing. We were gonna go in there and just see, probably get destroyed. But then our barbarian starts to intimidate it to the point it intimidates it into submission. And he's able to ride it. So we didn't land. I think we landed one attack on that wormling, and then everybody backed off. And then we fought a bunch of kobolds instead. And yeah, like our barbarian, instead of like raging and just like going to town and be like, I'm gonna just hit this stupid big beast with the axe, he spent his every round yelling at this dragon, intimidating it, and pretty much commanding it to do stuff, and then eventually being able to just ride it and get it out of there. Very, very different. It was funny, but yeah, not what I was expecting for our final fight for that beginner box. Assurance, breath control, acumen. Yeah, that was funny. And it was good. Like it was so good because it's like it was something different than we normally do. Because like when we started continuing to play 5e, we kind of just started brute forcing stuff. One of the things I think that happens with 5e, and I know that's different from like Pathfinder in terms of combat. You have Pathfinder 2e is based around a 3-action economy completely. So your move, spells, attacks all cost a number of action points is the way to say it. But there's so many other options to do in combat that cost action points that you don't necessarily, you're kind of encouraged to do other things to either open up advantages, to give bonuses to your teammates, or to handle combat in a different way, or deal with other objectives that are happening within combat. In 5e, pretty much you have a move action, you have your bonus action, and you have your just a regular standard action, and then maybe a free action here and there. But what happens a lot in 5e, you're not always using those, your action economy to its fullest. While in Pathfinder 2e, you, due to the action points and the action system that they have in there, a move is an action. And there's going to be turns where you don't need to move because you're just fighting right there. So it frees up your action point to do something else. So you're constantly always trying to do something. And since attack swings are not gated by level and the leveling up in Pathfinder 2e, you could spend your entire turn just making 3 attacks. While in 5e, like, okay, I make an attack if I'm at a low level. Okay, I'm level 5. Okay, I make 2 attacks. I have my bonus action. Okay, well, then I use this other feature to buff up my attacks. I can't move this turn, so my move action is wasted. You know, it makes combat a lot more field dynamic, at least, which I enjoy. I do wish they do find a way to change that for 5e, or like in another edition going forward, because there definitely aren't changing anything for combat in 2024. They pretty much, the way combat flows is generally being kept the same. So I'm hoping like in a future edition, if they like a true 6th edition, they will actually look at their action economy and change it to be way more free flowing, or just provide enough options that you're just not stuck into doing the same sort of 3 or 4 abilities, like, or 3 or 4 actions every turn for D&D. My biggest criticism for Pathfinder 2e, though, in terms of actions, there's too many to keep up with. You have so many to choose from that it can feel like, well, what I do in the right situation, especially early on. I think as you play, that becomes easier because you're going to have your set routine of like, oh, these are the main things I'm going to stick with. But I think early on, or when you're trying to interact and do things that are not just straight up, I'm going to kill the thing that's in front of me, or help my friends kill the thing that's in front of me. That's when you have to look at your actions and be like, okay, there's too many to choose from. Is this the correct one I need for the thing I'm wanting to do? So yeah. Okay, let's see. Natural medicine. My character's not really into medicine. Fleet. You move quickly. Okay, increase my speed. Not really. You react more quickly than others can. You gain a +2 circumstance bonus to initiative rolls. Cool. That's not that bad. Incredible initiative. Okay, but I'm looking for something that's defensive. I can't use a shield. Part of the thing with thaumaturge is they have to have their implement or magic item thing that they're going to be able to use in one hand, and then if you're going to attack with something, you have your weapon in the other, so you can't use a shield. So what I need is something that, let's see what toughness does. And you can withstand more punishment than most before succumbing. Increase your maximum hit points by your level. The DC recovery checks is equal to. So what I want to know about toughness, if I take it now, do I only increase it by 1, or every time I level, does it also increase by the level, like an additional level? You know what I mean? So if those familiar with Pathfinder, let me know. 2E, if that's the case, because I'm not sure if it does. So let me take toughness off and just put. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna do something. Okay, I want to see something. Okay, we're gonna level 2. We're gonna just try it. Level 2, and then if I take the toughest feat off and do trick item. Okay, sick. Okay, it does. Gives you just pretty much like an extra HP. That's not bad. My biggest complaint is the Oracle. I've been watching No Nat Ones. He's actually a really good channel to kind of like get a feel of what Pathfinder 2E is. He does a really good breakdowns of the classes, and that's what I saw his biggest complaint too, was like the Oracle was just a lot of downside to do stuff other classes do better. Yeah, it completely underperforms for what it's supposed to do. And I guess he said there's a specific build, like a healing build, that it's the only thing it's good at. But you have to play a specific build, which is unfortunate. So yeah, we're going natural ambition. So I want to pick my regular class feat. So class feats are in a way similar to class features for your class's subclass. The only difference, or like in 5e, but the only difference is that you get to choose multiple. So you're just not stuck with like you're a fighter and all you're getting is a second wind, an action surge, you know? Like, no, like you pick and choose what you want at that level. So it makes it so that if I play a thaumaturge again in a different game, i.e. if I pick different things, it's not going to play the same. It's going to feel different, or it's going to play in a slightly different way where I'm interacting with my kit in a different way. So which is cool. So it kind of like takes that idea of a subclass and it just kind of applies it to the entire class, while still giving you some sort of subclass option as you play. And we'll get into like subclasses for the thaumaturge in a second. So what I get for my base one, there's Scroll of Thaumaturge. Okay, we'll go down the list. Ammunition, Thaumaturge, you're used to handling your implement, weapon, and esoterica in the heat of combat. Adding a few bullets or arrows to the mix is no extra burden. You can interact to reload a weapon using the hand holding your implement, which is cool. Pretty much you have something that has your like special like not magic item on you. As you're holding it, you can reload your gun or pull out some arrows to continue shooting. I don't plan on being a ranged heavy character, so I'm not going to go with ammunition thaumaturge, but it's cool for those that have that range build. And then diverse lore. Your wandering studies mean you've heard rumors or theories about almost every topic, though admittedly your sources aren't always the most reliable. You can take a -2 penalty to your check to recall knowledge with esoteric lore. To recall knowledge about the topic, not just the usual topics available for esoteric lore. Additionally, when you succeed at your check to exploit a vulnerability, compare the results of your esoteric lore check to the DC to recall knowledge for that creature. If the number would be successful or critical success, you get information as if you succeeded at a recall knowledge check. Ooh, okay, esoteric lore check, or what is it? Exploit a vulnerability. is like one of the core actions of the class that lets you figure out a weakness and coach your weapon in one of those weaknesses to continue attacking and doing additional damage to that creature. Or if that's not the case, or you can't if the creature doesn't have a weakness or something, you have another option to just do like a slightly extra damage to the creature. So, and that's just like with a one-headed weapon. So it's pretty awesome. Like, that's kind of like a little Monster Hunter-esque vibe. So this is cool. Divine Disharmony. From your collection of religious trinkets, you put on opposing divine objects, such as the religious symbols of two deities that are hated enemies. Combine them in display that causes discordant clashes of divine energy that are especially distracting to the faithful. Roll your choice of deception or intimidation check against the will DC of a creature you can see within 60 feet. With the following results, if the creature is particularly devoted to a deity, such as a cleric, celestial monitor, fiend, or other creature with divine spells, you get a +2 circumstance bonus to your skill check. The GM might determine that a creature that despises all deities, such as an Agoluth, is unaffected. Critical success. The creature is flat-footed to your attacks until the end of your next turn. Flat-footed is pretty good. It it lowers their AC, so it makes them a lot easier to hit. So pretty much you would be spending an action to like jangle like the jingle like a bunch of like religious keys in front of the face, like they're a cat. Hey, look at this little bells and whistles here, and then smack. That's funny. But it's gonna cost like an action, and it's based on a save, so there's a good chance that and if a creature isn't affected by it, then dang. So it's cool. But you get a familiar. Doesn't fit with my character, but it's actually a pretty cool thing that you get this like other pretty much a pet to kind of help scout and stuff. Haunted Ingenuity. Your cunning knowledge grants you the ability to notice the emotional echo of a soul that has passed on, leaving a haunt in its wake, even when you aren't searching while in exploration mode. The GM rolls a secret check for you to notice haunts that usually require you to be searching. You can disable haunts that require master proficiency in the skill as long as you're at least trained in the skill. If you have master proficiency in the skill, you can disable haunts that require proficiency rank of legendary instead. Lots of stuff I don't know what it does. I don't know what a haunt is. I'm assuming it's some sort of like a supernatural event that occurs that the thaumaturge is going to be really good at just disarming. Pretty much going to be a Ghostbuster from what it sounds like. But from what I know and what we're going to be playing for our game, that isn't going to be the case. Root of Life. Oh, Marigold, Spider Lily, Pennyroyal. Many primal traditions connect flowers and plants with boundaries between life and death, and you can leverage this association to keep an ally on the side of the line. You can place a small plant or similar symbol on an adjacent dying creature, immediately stabilizing them. The creature is no longer dying and instead unconscious at 0 hit points. If you spend 2 actions instead of 1, you empower the act further by uttering a quick blessing to chase away the ongoing pain, adding the auditory trait to the action. When you do so, attempt to flat checks to remove each source of persistent damage affecting your target. Due to this particularly effective assistance, the DC is 10 instead of the usual 15. All right, so pretty much you can stabilize and remove a damage effect that will continue to hurt them and kill them. Cool. But we also have a cleric in the party, so I don't really have to worry about that. Scroll of Thaumaturge. Your multidisciplinary study of magic means you know how to activate the magic in scrolls with ease. You can activate scrolls of any magic tradition using your Thaumaturge class DC for the scroll's DC rather than a particular spell DC. If the spell is on the spell list for multiple traditions, you can choose which tradition to use for the time you activate the scroll. You can draw and activate scrolls with the same hand holding an implement, much like you can for Esoterica. Okay, haunts or hazards. Oh, okay. Interesting. Are they like a specific type of hazard? Or like a supernatural event, I guess you can say, that are specifically tied to like ghost and other paranormal. Scroll Thaumaturgy actually sounds pretty sick. Scroll Thaumaturgy. Looking at both of these, I'm trying to see like what fits my character. My character is I'm probably gonna pick up diverse lore and scroll thaumaturgy. Scroll thaumaturgy just because it's like being able to just pick up scrolls and just cast them. Like that's good. That's pretty good. And it kind of makes me a Swiss Army knife, because I'm looking from based off of like the party members. None of them are really gonna be arcane casters. My character being from Siri, excuse me. They have a natural knack to be trained in like multiple studies. So it does scratch my itch of also kind of being a spellblade in a way. I like, that's why I was attracted to Magus, because it lets me play a melee spellcaster to some extent. It's just the Magus's playstyle just doesn't suit what I envision completely of what I want to be able to do. And just how combat is like, it's super swingy. So like you hit hard. What's wrong with alignment? Oh man, we talked about it like a while ago. We talked about alignment a while ago. So I don't know if you're barely catching up. But yeah, alignment is to kind of like a quick rundown again of what alignment is. Outside of bioessentialist rhetoric that it does reinforce, that it is problematic. In terms of actual game functions, alignment can, and oftentimes I do see, limits the narrative freedom that a game master and a player can have on the game, because they have to adhere to lore and the alignment system in order to obtain and have access to abilities or run creatures in a certain fashion that would be against the nature of the game, even if the altering that alignment option would make sense for the story. While there's much more an encouragement to not adhere to alignment or not use it at all, or be able to have that fluidity of you can make it how you want, the fact that alignment in the games are codified tends to have people only be restrictive and only play that option the way it's supposed to be. And for me, like, I'm gonna give away some of the video. As much as I see alignment as a helpful tool to guide people to roleplay, and I'm mainly just talking the narrative angle for this, to roleplay, that's a game master and the player, I think the amount of alignment options that they have is unneeded in the game, and that actually stripping it away and allowing for more nuance and freedom and choice would be a lot, at least the traditional nine grid alignment. There's other systems and other franchises that do alignment a lot, that feel a lot more natural. Like Magic the Gathering has a really solid, their mana system, their magic system has alignment built into it, but it's way different. And it's not about good or evil, it's about philosophies and emotions and ideology, and how all those things interact. You can push and pull between those two things and mix and match those colors to create a multifaceted kind of character within the setting of Magic the Gathering, because of their colors, the magic that they use. So it's, again, very much built into the system, and it makes a lot of sense. And then in a lot of ways, Star Wars is that too. So I'm gonna hold off on the Star Wars stuff because I will explain that in the video. I'm hoping to get it out within the next week or so. Yeah, that the traditional alignment system where it's lawful good, lawful evil, and stuff is very dependent on setting and also worldview and how those things are interpreted and what constitutes as lawful good, lawful evil. And that also is inherently problematic when that's applied to peoples, because people are multifaceted, and what is good and lawful in one society might not be good and lawful in another society. It might be seen as evil, that simplistic, that pretty much having people's cultures and ideas, even in a fantasy setting, simplified to be like, this is good and this is evil, does influence how we interpret and look at the world. We interact with media, and the media does influence it in a way, or reinforces or alters our perspective on stuff. We can't be, we're not unconnected from that. Yeah. So I'm okay with alignment systems, but D&D's and pretty much the traditional fantasy TTRPG alignment system is heavily outdated. And if we are going to have alignment systems as tools to help encourage game masters and players to roleplay and give them direction, we should look at a different option. It should evolve. It should change as games change. So for me, I'm okay with alignment systems. I just want better ones. I think other games do it better. And I Wizards is right there with Magic the Gathering with their color pie system. Take some ideas and reinvigorate and change D&D's alignment system to maybe something similar to a color pie system. It'd be a lot more interesting. Excuse me. So yeah, there's that. Okay, I want an extra class feat. In terms of my character, dang, divine. This is just funny, but I don't know if I want to spend an extra action with my action economy to really just jingle a bunch of keys and shiny objects in front of this person like they're a cat, like another monster like they're a cat, and just be like, okay, well, if you're distracted enough, I lower your armor class. I think with stuff like exploit vulnerability and getting the extra damage and stuff, I should be okay. What else I'd want, unless you guys have suggestions, maybe I shouldn't go with natural ambition and maybe try to get into the general feat. If you guys have suggestions, please feel free to throw it in there. I'm very much building this character in the same way I approach building characters for 5e, where it is very much what I envision this concept to have, even if it's not optimal. So I am looking to at least make my character play the role they need to play in the party, at least do the class's role. So for those familiar with it, please give me feedback and advice. But I'm not worried about being optimal. My group does not play optimal whatsoever. So, and especially with the new system we're learning, we're definitely not going to be playing optimal. Means you heard. Okay, so diverse lore. This one kind of fits with my character because since they are a bit of a spy and kind of dabbled and heard information from everywhere, this is kind of like one of those things that they can kind of just draw from, like back knowledge. Or maybe at this time they were in the One Nation and they heard a bunch of rumors and kind of were looking into stuff. Boom. That's why I'm liking diverse lore. All knowledge about any topic, not just usual topics before. So I can use esoteric lore. The power of Jingle Jangle compels you. Natural ambition. Okay, natural ambition is the best first level feat on a human. Yeah, honestly, it's good. You get a second option for from your class. That's awesome. That's pretty sick. Just yep, I'm just this. Archetype feats. Okay, so archetypes, aren't they? That's another way they multi-class, right? Yeah, we're gonna go with this one. Being able to kind of just I think this one's gonna be one of those things that kind of helps the game move along too, with and helps my DM a bit. If I can just pull out those nooks and crannies of information, so that my group can kind of trudge along. That's what I do too. Okay, let's get into subclass for this. Okay, so subclasses for Thaumaturge are based around the item they use, but the cool thing about Thaumaturge is that at later levels you get to pick additional items. So you get, at the end of the day, you get to pick a total of 3 of these. So Amulet is a reaction based option, and at later levels you can upgrade this to get more functions out of this. So what the Amulet does, it's a reaction. So when a target of your exploit vulnerability would damage you or an ally within 15 feet of you. Exploit vulnerability, I guess the easiest way for those that are not familiar with 5e, it's sort of like, it's a cool hunter's mark or hex sort of ability where you pretty much are marking a target, and you get to deal additional damage to them and like find out information from them about them also to convey to your allies and let them know, hey, I'm exploit vulnerability on this troll. I found out that the troll is vulnerable to fire. So, hey, start using fire, and then you coat your weapon with fire and just go to town. Ooh, okay. Spy class, you could also make a mirror implement. Ooh, okay. Well, I want to go through all of them to kind of see it. But yeah, I remember the mirror sort of doing cool like illusion things, which kind of fits with what I read on lore for Syrian military and like spy agents, that they use illusion and enchantment magic too. So they were a little bit more trained on that than they were on like actual war magic. That was more Onder's thing. The nation of Onder pretty much has the best magic schools in all of Corvair, and during the war they pretty much bolstered their military with wizards and pretty much wizards and other arcane spellcasters. So their whole military was just like, yes, we're casting fireball on your nation, so have fun. While other nations use different implements, like Karnath was all military, like full on marshals, but they supplemented their military for a while with undead. So they do exploit necromancy. Similar in a way that I think that's reminiscent to Ravnica's Golgari. They don't view necromancy and undead as evil. It was a necessary thing in order for them to survive. So yeah. So that's why a lot of cool lore for Eberron. Like every nation's like super interesting. And there's a given reason why things happen at the way they are until you get to the point where this is where the game starts. Such an amazing setting. All right, so what the amulet does, so you exploit vulnerability. When you it triggers when the target of your exploit vulnerability would damage you or an ally within 50 feet of you. So I have to hold the amulet, and if the person I'm kind of marking would damage me or an ally, me or that ally gains resistance to all damage against the triggering damage. The resistance is 2 plus your level. That's pretty sick. Excuse me. That's sick. That is actually really sick. So the resistance is equal to 2 plus your level. So at level 1, that is going to be like you're preventing 3 damage. That's sick. I that's really good. It's a good defensive tool. It kind of gives you kind of like a defender-esque ability to protect your allies and protect yourself. And then at later levels, if you decide to like upgrade them, because at certain points I believe I saw like in Thaumaturge you can level like your item up. So even if I pick another item at a different level, I can choose that item to level up instead. But ultimately only one of these items is going to be able to go to Paragon. So you do need to decide like, okay, out of your first 2, what's getting the upgrade? Because the third option you pick, I think, doesn't get that. They cannot be completely upgraded at all. Suggestions. Implements is mirror, weapon, and tome. Okay, I'll take a look at all of those right now. Tome, I think, right, that gives me some books. I'm gonna be more like a this class kind of reminds me a little bit of like Warlock in a way, not so much in its playstyle, but like the choice options you get in 5e for not the boons, but pretty much the packs. You pack to the tone, pack to the chain. You kind of get like that, but you get multiple. Pretty sick. So yeah, this is all defensive. This is pretty cool. Not sure if it fits with the character. So Bell is another one. It's another reaction based option. And from what I remember, what Nonat1 said, there's going to be 3 options that are reaction based, 3 that are action based, and 3 that are passive. So you pretty much don't really want to overlap them. Kind of want to pick one of each. Bells symbolize the power that sound and emotions hold over others, soothing with one tone. Okay. The target of your exploit invariably makes a strike or casts a spell that would affect you or one of your allies. If you're holding your bell and triggering the creatures within 30 feet of you, your implement sings aloud, abruptly disrupting your foe. The piece played depends on whether the trigger was a strike or a spell, and applies the triggering spell or... Okay, so distracting cacophony. Okay, breaks the concentration. The target must succeed on a 14 save against your class DC or become stupefied for 1 until the end of your next turn, and stupefied for 2 on a critical failure. The target doesn't have to attempt a flat check to avoid losing the triggering spell, but the discordant ring does lower the spell attack roll or spell DC of the triggering spell from stupefied. Okay. So in a way, you're kind of disrupting the spell, possibly forcing them to fail it. To fail hitting you or missing. Okay. Disrupting harmony, the trigger is a strike. And I'm assuming this is going to be the same. The target must will save, pass or become choice of enfeebled or clumsy. And I'm assuming causes them to miss. Cool. Kind of defensive option. Chalice, you drink it up. Okay, you have 2 options from this. As an action, you can either sip from this and you regain 2 hit points equal to 2 plus half your level. So at level 1, since this doesn't say rounded down or rounded up, this is at you just get 2 hit points back for sipping it. And if you drain, you just drink this, you gulp this thing down. Oh, never mind. That's temporary hit points. Okay. All right, sip. Temporary hit points. Let me correct that. You gain 2 temporary hit points. And then drain, you get to regain 3 hit points for each level you have. But then you kind of just drink all the potion up. That is okay. If you don't have a healer in your team, something that is capable of healing, I can see why you would need this. With a cleric, I'm not worried about that. Okay, so this is one of the passive options where you're holding a lantern. It's burning light, leaves secrets. No place to hide. You can light or extinguish your lantern as a free action once each turn. Give me a sec. Actually, give me a sec, guys. I'm gonna need to step away from the desk real quick. We are back. All right, let's do this. Okay, let's look at... Okay, so the lantern. Mod is sleeping. All chat is now pony. And you can still sip it if you're still draining. Okay, so lantern, this is a passive one. You hold the light and extinguish your lantern as a free action. Once each turn with nothing but a thought that has a concentration rate. The lantern shines bright light to 20 feet and dim light to another 20 feet further. Okay. Lantern. The lantern's magical light attempts to reveal the unseen. You and your allies in the lantern's area of bright light gain a +1 bonus to visual perception checks to notice anything that is within the bright light, and a +1 status bonus to checks to recall knowledge against creatures within the bright light as the light exposes their true natures. Okay, that's kind of cool, but I don't know how effective it is. I'm assuming at later levels it becomes a lot stronger. All right, let's see what this cool one. So mirror has it's an action. So as long as you hold the mirror, you reflect an illusory image of yourself into another unoccupied space within 50 feet of you that you can see. You are treated as being in both spaces until the start of your next turn. That's sick. For example, you can attack and seek and provide flanking even with yourself. You occupy both spaces. Your mirror self mimics your actions exactly, but any effects you generate come from only one of your positions. Excuse me. You decide which each time you attack. For example, if you made a melee strike against a creature within reach of the reflection, you'd mime the action of the strike, but only the reflection would actually make the strike. Anything that targets or would affect your reflection affects you and uses your statistics. Something that you could target or affect both of you affects you only once. That is sick. Oh, this is so. How long does your reflection stay though? Then the end effect and cause your mirror to self-disappear. Oh, okay. That is sick. Okay, so at the start of the turn, the next turn, the mirror goes off, and then I can use the mirror again on my turn, or till I dismiss it. Okay. Oh my god. That is okay. Well, shit. That is sick. Wow, that is so good. Pretty much it turns me into a what's that Echo Knight fighter a little bit. That is actually really, really good. I like that. That's an insta lock. We are gonna go with that one. That plays into the illusion aspect of the character. I'm trying to figure out how do you implement a mirror into like the character's look, and I'm thinking of like his gauntlet has like a mirror reflection on it, so all he does is just kind of like when he activates it, he just kind of like magic item uses it and boom, a reflection comes out of his gauntlet, and then the other one appears on the other side. My character's gonna use double team. It's sick. Okay, I like that one. I'm gonna go through the rest of them. Or we'll go. Okay, I'm settled on mirror, but you suggested tome, and then you suggested weapon. I definitely want to go mirror from the first one. But let's see. I want to see what tome does. Tome is a passive one. While you're holding your tome, lines of text appear on the open pages revealing useful information. While you hold your tome, you gain a +1 circumstance bonus to all skill checks to recall knowledge. That's actually really good. During your daily preparations, you can gain the trained proficiency rank in 2 skills of your choice until you prepare again. You retain the benefit as long as the tome is on your person, even if you can't hold it. So, pretty much, I'm a Swiss Army knife for skills. That is sick. Oh yeah, mirror shield too. That is another option. At 3rd level, you're an expert in one of the skills and trained in another. At 5th level, you're an expert in both skills. Since these, that is sick. Okay, tome is actually really good. So it makes me kind of like a Swiss Army knife for skills. While I'll prepare and read and nerd out. Yeah, that's actually really good. Okay, and wand is cool, but yeah, this is like a double action thing. Weapon. So this is my RD. This reaction. Okay, so that's like the perfect setup of like action, reaction, and passive. The target of your exploit of vulnerability uses concentration Manipulate or move an action, or leaves a square as a reaction. Pretty much if they try to cast, I'm assuming cast a concentration or a concentration ability or spell, or trying to manipulate or remove action, or leave the square during a move action it's using, or they pretty much. Your weapon senses a moment of weakness and guides your hand to strike down a foe. Make a strike against the triggering creature with your weapon implement. If the attack is critical, is a critical hit, you disrupt the triggering attack. Oh wow, okay, so this is just an attack of opportunity, but if you crit on it, pretty much the sentinel effect, they cannot move, or like, yeah, they just stop doing what they were trying to do. That's pretty sick. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. So it gives you, like, if they're trying to move away, you pretty much turn into sentinel. If they attempt to cast or do like some sort of like spell that concentrates or manipulates, or try to move back. Yeah. They try to move away and they try to do some other stuff. Bam. Stop what you're doing. Cut it out. Okay. We're going to go with mirror first because that's like, that's a good bread and butter ability. I don't know if I can wait to use that. But I know, let's see, what levels do I get the other implements? Okay, so you get a second implement at 5th level, which I'll probably do the skill monkey implement because that seems a lot more useful for longevity. And then when's the next one? When's the next one? 3rd implement. You don't get another one till level 15. So that I might do weapon last. That's actually pretty sick. That is okay. Okay, so yeah, we have our level 1 character. Okay, we need boost. So Thaumaturge is very much a charisma-based character. So we definitely need to boost our charisma on all these stats. Strength is your melee attack option, like in 5e, but unlike 5e, finesse or like agile finesse kind of weapons still require you to use strength. It's only ranged weapons that use dex in Pathfinder 2e. So they did make sure to not make dexterity a god stat here. So there you go. So this could be, and then we'll go charisma. Boost this here. Got a class boost, charisma class. We're definitely gonna boost our strength. We probably should boost our charisma. And then when we get another chance to boost strength, we can get that up to an 18. Unfortunately, we cannot do that here. So we want to just be consistent and try to hit. We probably want some more HP because we are going to be on the front line. We only get one more option. And I think for me, we're going to want a wisdom saving throw. For perception, to be aware. What does that mean? Oh, okay. No. How does that look out for you go? It's pretty much, I know I got to be in melee, so I need to be able to hit stuff. Charisma is my main class stat, and a lot of my other features are going to be relying on that, and having that pretty high is always going to be a good thing. Constitution, because I need HP for my character, because I will be, from what it looks like, I'm going to be like one of the primary melee fighters in the group. And then wisdom for perception, really. I don't, unless I want to go dex for defense. Okay, charisma is at 18, so I don't have to do anything else. Yeah, so my options are either going to be wisdom, because what if I take con? Maybe try this. If I take con off, I lose 2 HP. Dex would be there to boost my AC. Excuse me. Oh wait, I don't have to boost intelligence because I think my esoteric lore allows me to use charisma instead. Yeah, I'm thinking this. I always like wisdom for perception. I think having that busted. Okay. But yeah, I think I can lose some HP here. Okay, we need skills. Yeah, because one thing I was like, okay, maybe I should get intelligence for my lore stuff, but yeah, esoteric lore, your special lore skill that can be used to recall knowledge regarding haunts and curses, and it can't be used to recall knowledge of other topics. Unlike a normal lore skill, you can use charisma as your modifier on esoteric lore checks. But we have where is this? We have diverse lore, which allows us to use our esoteric lore to recall knowledge on other stuff. So a high charisma is going to be good, and even with a -2 penalty, that's like we're at a plus. That'll still put us at a +6 for other lore. A dex build, interesting. Dex build, okay. But okay. So for dex though, when it comes to weapons, is it strength still needed to hit? Yeah, see, I can do that, but my background only boosts strength or con. I don't mind boosting that, but that would bring me down here. Get more HP. Oh, finesse weapons. Oh, okay. Because this is the best, or ancestry boost. So we go dex. The best I will be able to get is a 14, a +2 to hit. Well, this would also boost my AC. Well, I also have the mirror, so that'll also, so I would just need to later on boost this. The only thing I would maybe change background, but I don't think I have another background that fits with. Let's see if we can find a conceptual background to get that 16 from the fat. This is where I'm being a min-maxer, guys. Sorry. Is it a scout? No, we're not gonna be a scout. That's why I wish they had like a spy or something like that, because that actually like saboteur. That's why I'm really surprised they don't have like some sort of spy-esque. Insurgent. I'm a legal guard. Code breaker. Nope. Dang, that actually would have been sick though. Cannoneer. Yeah, So we'd have to get a finesse weapon. Interesting. Okay, that's more to know. That's good. As a practice strength there. Let's see. Now, for me, it's like, okay, conceptually, I want something that makes sense. Refugee, nope. Prisoner, printer, pyre, tender. Cursebreaker. Cursed. Cursed family. Dauntless. Detective. Dragon Scholar, Dreamer, Eidolon Contact, Emissary, Ex-Crusader. We're gonna find something, I swear. Goblin Blood Orphan. There we go. Godless Grey Cloak, Grave Robber, Guard Legal, Gorilla. Gunsmith, Haunted Citizen. Excuse me. Haunted Vision. Hell Knight Historian, Herbalist, Hermit, Hired Killer, Hopeful, Hounded Thief, Hunter, Inlander, Insurgent. Loyalist. Lumberjack, Magical Merchant, Magical Misfit, Mammoth Herder. See, after we figured this out, we kind of have our level 1 character ready to go. Ready to go for tomorrow, because I think we're going to be playing tomorrow. Mercenary. Oh. Missionary, Minor. Actually, what's... That is very... I'm very surprised there's like not some sort of spy or something like that. You would think... All for this 16 decks. Rebel. I'm a rebel. Reclaimer. Oh, reclaimed. Reclaimer, investigator. Nope. Recruiter, reformer. Hobnobber skill feat. What the heck? Thrain, home of the mercenary missionaries. Yep. Oh man, we're gonna refugee, reputation seeker, desert jungle, restorer. What is restorer? Revenant, rigger, root worker, roastlander, royalty, ruin delver, runner, saboteur. See, I wouldn't mind actually maybe playing the Engle. could always go with what your cover story is. Like, I'm tempted to go saboteur. Maybe my character was sent in to other nations to disrupt the plans of those trying to dismantle the their enemies. Like, are pretty much dismantle the effects or the plans of our enemies, our military, what they were trying to do. Because the nation of Syria, their goal by the end of the last war was to keep a unified country. That was what their goal was. It pretty much was a civil war where others were either trying to become independent, and while others were attempting to assert their authority and be the main ones in charge of the entire nation. And Syria was kind of the one stuck in the middle while trying to hold the birthright and trying to still keep their claim to the seat of power. They were trying to not have their country of Corvair completely dissolved. So like they were trying to have everybody be under one, keep everybody together. So I can see myself being a saboteur. Dan Mays, thank you for the sub. Thank you. So I think saboteur is the direction we're gonna go. So let's try this. We'll go dexterity. We're gonna go dexterity. So that'll get us to a good 16, 18. We'll put a little bit of a bump into con. Get some wisdom. So I think we're good here. Now we just need 3 skills. So since my character is going to be leaning towards, obviously I can play a good face character. So what I'm going to be doing is 1, 2. I think we should just do that. I think we're good here. I just lean into it. I'm looking at everybody else in the party. I don't see the other characters wanting to play a face role, or at least having the ability to play the face role. This character would be the one that would want to deceive, to initiate deals, or to scare people into tactics. And it just makes sense. Charisma is my highest ability score. Might as well lean into it and play the face role. Stealth, thievery, diplomacy. Ooh, that's true. Stealth. Well, thievery I already got. I can do without death. We do. Okay, we're gonna have 2. We do have our rogue. So, but stealth, I could see. Intimidation might not be my character's choice of tactics, but lying, yeah, lying will be one of his things. And also, since eventually I'll get the tome, I can just kind of boost up the other stuff that I need at the time. So it makes a lot of sense. Okay, see, yeah, I don't mind stealth because it might be. Oh, that's true. You know what? Yeah, I think we'll do this. Yeah, you sold me on the combat skills. I wouldn't mind like yelling at people. Yeah. Okay. So what we're gonna do to finish this up, we're gonna just pick items. The magic items and stuff are pretty much our basic standard items we're gonna need. The cool thing, what are the magus? Oh, no. Okay, here we go. The cool thing about this whole thing. Yeah. So Adrian here is one of my buddies. He's in our play group. He played the barbarian in our the beginner box. Our beginner box run. He played the barbarian, a half-orc barbarian that intimidated the dragon. He yelled at the dragon to be able to ride it and train it. So yeah. Also pick up a ranged weapon. Yeah, now that I have access to Dex, having a ranged weapon is viable, but I'm probably going to stick with something like a dagger or something like that, so I don't really have to reload. Because I don't want to have to use that other, like, I have diverse lore. It would make sense if I picked up ammunition thaumaturgy to be able to just, like, yeah. but having like a thrown weapon that maybe uses Dex would be actually pretty sick. All right, so weapons. Let's go with our standard. We're trained in martial. There's so many of these things, but I'll just want the basic one. So what's a starting weapon? Dagger pistol. Ooh. So yeah, so we just need a starting weapon. Rapier. This like scimitar. Which one has? We need a starting short sword. That's finesse. So right now we'll start off with a short sword for now. And this number, like, it's already at a +2, right? And then I believe with stuff like exploding vulnerability, that adds additional damage to those attacks. Damn. Yeah, this is personal antithesis. This is really, really good. So it'll be at a +7 to okay, so yeah, calculating damage, it's only gonna be still at a +2, which is unfortunate, but we're gonna be doing like consistent damage because of mortal weakness or personal antithesis. Like that damage is like dumb. Dagger pistol. Okay, I'll talk to my GM about the dagger pistol, just cause I don't know if that's gonna be something he's gonna want me to work up to. You know what I mean? Because it is sort of out there. Or he might just let me do it. But we'll keep the. Let's look at the dagger pistol. I'm assuming it's. Let's just go all. Dagger pistol. Dagger pistol, melee and range. Jesus. It's only a D4, but shanky. Critical fusion. Interesting. Okay. That's funny. Okay, so this is like it's a gunblade, but like a little dagger gunblade. That is so dumb. Okay, I'll talk to my DM about this. But yeah, this is. I think my buddy Dave is playing a Warforged gunslinger. I think this is something me and him our characters can like RP to work out. That's actually pretty sick. I'm gonna be Squall from Final Fantasy VIII, but like with a little mini handgun. Okay. I think for this we're just gonna take for now. But yeah, I'll talk to my game master. I think this is something he's gonna want us to work up to, because that's actually pretty sick. So we'll just do this. But yeah, we're gonna be doing consistent damage. So like the +2 may kind of like feel a little weak. But with like stuff like mortal weakness or personal antithesis, as long as we can land our exploit invulnerability onto an enemy, whether it fails or not, I think it just lands, right? Yeah, so even if we fail the check, we always get a +2 plus half your level to the additional damage. So at level 1, this is gonna be 4 damage total, like additional damage, plus whatever we roll on the D6. But like if we do land our pretty much our mark on the creature, whether it's critical success or a success, As long as we get their highest weakness, or we know all their weaknesses, we're going to be doing additional damage. So yeah, this is pretty sick. Okay, so there's that. Okay, we need some defense in terms of armor. We just need, we can wear medium. Is it gonna be hide? And then eventually, I think hide is like a starting armor. Eventually we can probably not, to be honest. I don't think we're using that at all because of everybody's sort of starting out. So it's like I think everybody's just trying to keep it simple and just using like the standard stuff that's out there right now. And then I think as long as we have fun with the system and continue to play it, I think our next go around with Pathfinder 2, we're probably going to open it up and use like heavier like character build kind of options. So that's another thing. Is like, yeah, we're keeping we're barely learning, we're babies. Yeah, and the more I get into the system and more I get familiar with it and are knowledgeable of it, you may see more Pathfinder 2 content. We'll see. I am really trying to lean more towards system neutral content a little bit more, so that whether you like Pathfinder 2e or you're into 5th edition, whether it's through Wizards or through non Wizards 5e content, you're gonna have access to like concepts and ideas to help you play your game. And I'm gonna be drawing from other media, either it's through video games, movies, TV, comic books, etc., to help kind of like see where you can take those ideas and put them into your game and infuse them. So we are going to move away definitely from like character builds for 5e, which I know people might be upset about because that was like a core part of what helped build the channel. But there's only so many ways in 5e you can build a character, and it kind of gets boring. And at the same time, like building those videos was kind of just like rough. Yeah, it just started becoming really unfun for me to like build that stuff. So yeah, we're gonna go back to level 1. Cool. We're 18. Level 1. Oh man, yeah, this character is looking pretty sick. I'm liking it. Okay, what I'm gonna do, we're gonna save this. Save it to local. Yes, make a copy. The cool thing about Path Builder is that you can just do this. You go to menu and say, hey, I want a PDF character sheet. Bam, there's your character. You have a PDF you can print out, and it just puts it into a character sheet for you. Like, this is awesome. Has everything there for you that you can just go to. And the cool thing about this app is that you can use it on your phone, and as long as you pay for it, you have access to a lot more stuff. But the basics of like just being able to build any sort of character you want and use this as like a tracking is awesome. Like, you could just keep track of it. So what I'm probably gonna do after I'm done streaming is like create an account on here, and so I can log in through my phone or log in through my laptop when we play. And yeah, you pretty much have your character. It's awesome. Like, really intuitive. It is a free version. It's free. I think it's only if you upgrade the app you can like store more characters and stuff like that. But it's pretty much, yeah, it's what you would like. It's what D&D Beyond's supposed to be doing, but they paywall like everything. So this goes into it. I understand people need to make money. D&D Beyond development is not cheap, but at the same time, it's like, man, your competitor game is very, very much a lot more consumer friendly. Yeah, $5, that is nothing. Has nothing to pretty much make multiple characters. Yeah, 5e is just lame compared to PF2e customization. Yeah, I pretty much, I think I could see why Pathfinder 2e players or players that have been playing for 5th edition for a long time and are transitioning into Pathfinder 2e can feel that 5e is very, very limited in options. Especially if you're probably a player that's been playing like tabletop games for a very, very long time, and other versions of D&D had more character options, especially like 3.5. From what my players have told me, my play group has told me that played back then. But I think they're both wanting to do the same thing in the sense that they want to help facilitate fantasy game storytelling and game, but they serve two different audiences. Uh, 5e is definitely wanting to capture a mass market, very easy to get into, maybe most likely your first time playing sort of player, where you get to fulfill and live out a power fantasy. And it's the more 5e and like the direction, like it mainly continually evolves into, it is definitely going to a more narrative space. And I know this frustrates designers and stuff because they want a more systems and more tools for the game to continue to build stuff, and they want more of a game in the game. And it's very apparent that 5e is shifting more towards a narrative element, especially with heavily influences like Critical Role and other actual plays, which are using 5e as a system to tell stories. And it's not to say that Pathfinder 2e doesn't allow you to tell stories, but it is very apparent for me, like coming into this, that Pathfinder 2e doesn't forget it's a game. It reminds you very much that you are still playing a game. This is there's a lot of knobs and buttons that you're pulling and doing to that. It is very reminiscent of playing a video game, and that's not a bad thing. It's just it serves a different purpose, and for those wanting all those bells and whistles to really like make all these options and have like all these other choices that are on a mechanical level, I can see how that appeals to people. Like for me, I'm stuck in the middle. I'm very much like lean towards narrative play and not want to be worried too much about every little minute option. But at the same time, I want more options than what 5e is giving me now. I think there is a space for like a game that's in the middle between both of these. Yeah. So, but they do serve two different audiences, and while I think just because they're both fantasy or TTRPGs that they're supposed to be competitors, I don't think they compete with each other in terms of like what they're going to serve to people. Yeah. If I want a narrative game, I just play Burning Wheel. Yeah, there's other systems that go completely narrative and that are do 5e, like they do narrative games way better. D&D is big because it's D&D. It's name, it's brand recognition. It's pretty much been the game. And pretty much it's like Coca-Cola, it's like McDonald's. There's other stuff that does what they're doing better. Just but you know them, you know. So it's always gonna have some sort of social relevancy. So, but yeah, like they serve two very, very different markets. But that's why like supporting as many games as possible to allow the industry to kind of flourish is a lot better than just everybody huddling around one game. Because yeah, more people should build stuff for like Pathfinder. More people should build their own games and then get them to compete in the market. Like get more ideas out there. Like competition is actually really good for the industry. Side note, mobile app and website require separate purchases. Ooh, that's good to know. Okay. I probably won't be using it on my phone. I'll probably be using it on my laptop and on my desktop anyway. So So yeah. 5e players would have jumped ship years ago without the option of third-party content creators. I agree. If DM's Guild, and then Drive Through RPG, and then pretty much other third-party publishers were not creating content, like Cobalt Press, Ghostfire Gaming, the folks at Critical Role. Then there's MCDM. You probably, and then people would have stopped playing 5e. Yeah, Lancer is another one that interests my group because like some of us are big, like my brother's super into mecha. Like when we went to Japan, he joined us on the second week. So on the first week it was like mine and my wife's honeymoon. The second week was like our honeymoon too, but we also wanted to share like the experience in Japan with our siblings. So my brother and my sister-in-law, my wife's sister, joined us because they've been wanting to go to Japan for a very long time too. So when we went, the place we went to was Yokohama. It's in Tokyo. It's still in Tokyo, but it's a little far ways out. And we went to the Gundam base and got to see the moving big old Gundam out there. Yeah, my brother's like super into mecha, so it was nice seeing that. And then he and I took a morning afternoon ourselves to go out to Odaiba and see the Unicorn Gundam that was out there. So, and go to the Gundam base store there and at Diverse City. So yeah, like Lancer is one of those games like we're keeping an eye on. And we actually want to get around to Lancer. But I'm probably gonna have to run it. I don't think any of my other guys in the play group will want to run it. Oh, like I don't know who wouldn't like giant mech things. Blaze in the Dark and City of Mist, I'll have to look into. I've heard nothing but great things about both of those games. And Blades in the Dark is more like a roguey thief heist sort of game, right? And then City of Mist, I have to look into more because I'm not sure the kind of game it wants to be visually. It seems like it's like a detective noir, superhero-esque sort of game, at least based off the visuals. But I'm pretty sure I will. Yeah, so yeah, I think that about does it. I have my first character. I will figure out a name for him later. Thank you guys for helping me kind of figure some options out. This character looks to be really, really fun. If everybody has a character built, hint, hint, Adrian, David, you guys are out there. We probably will be starting to play tomorrow, and then yeah, I know we have like a session 0 tomorrow night. All right, so that about does it for me. I'm looking at the time. I gotta go get some dinner. Other things I got going on right now, for just $1, you can join the Patreon, or you can support or become a member here on YouTube. And you can get access to Unpack, the first podcast episode that I did. I'm going to be doing one every month. This is going to be exclusive to members on here on YouTube and to Patreon subscribers. And you can get access to that just for $1. Simple, $1. Other content coming up. My alignment video and how Star Wars does it better will be coming in a week or two. The script is about halfway done. Work's been busy. I used to have a partner in my office. Now I'm running solo, so I have everything. If you need more help, I can send you my Discord. Oh, you can also hop in my Discord too. I have a Discord. Everybody's invited. There should be a link in the description. I'll probably be doing more content like this too, just kind of popping in and either building characters, talking about what games we're playing, and etc. I'm probably going to be doing some just like random video game streams, where I just kind of pop in. And I know Final Fantasy 16 is going to be coming out soon. That's how I would like to play that on stream. I have Pokemon Violet, and I would be down to play that on stream. I've pretty much only beat the first gym leader, so I'm pretty early into the game. But I would love to jump in and play that. I know I play a lot of Overwatch, but I don't know if I want to play that on stream because that game is rage-inducing. So yeah, that's what we got going on. I'm also, for those that are wanting to get an idea of what Unpacked is, I do plan on doing like shorter versions of it that will be up on YouTube. So if you're really iffy about investing $1, you'll get some a little, maybe like a 10-minute version of it, but that'll be highly edited. But the full unedited, which can go anywhere from an hour to 2 hour podcast, will be exclusive to members and patrons. So yeah, other than that, let me see what else I got going on. Let's see what I got going on. Other than that, oh yeah, update to the Luchador class coming soon. I'm talking with the artists now to get another piece of art commissioned. I might do another stream soon, just kind of like going over the base mechanics for the new class, and no subclass I'm adding to the supplement. But I also need to reach out to editors and also to Taryn, aka Underscore Boy, regarding layout. I know he's been busy. He's working on his game, Vagabond, which is going to be another fantasy TTRPG that is doing some really cool and interesting things that is very, very different from 5e, but still providing a lot of options, and it's looking pretty fun based off what he's been working on over there. So I need to reach out to him regarding layout too. So yeah, there's going to be an update to the Luchador on the DMs Guild. It'll be the bronze update, and then we're actually pretty close to hitting silver, so I probably need to be working on another update for that too. So yeah, so other than that, thank you guys for joining in. We got Mr. Breaker Dozen, 343 Burning Legion, Phil, Adrian. We had to see who else was here. I know my cousin Nomad was here, David was here. Let's see. I want to make sure I got everybody. Tin Can, Josiah, Chris the DM, C-Bev, Alamancer, King Master Lord, Raquel, Salty Lizard, DC, and Luke. Thank you guys for all shooting in. I think that was everybody. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. You guys take care and have a good one.